So, in the Introduction to Web Analytics class, we went over all the basic concepts of web analytics. We went over the fact that web analytics are the reports that are created by web analytics software about how your website is used. We talked about why that's important, how you can use that for marketing and business information. We went over a lot of the glossary terms, what words that you need to understand in order to go further to really understand what web analytics are. This class is now going to go further. We're going to go and we are going to look at 3 different types of web analytics software. We are going to look at a very basic type of web analytics software called WordPress Stats. WordPress Stats doesn't do a whole lot. It is used for creating web analytics for blog software, specifically for WordPress blogs. And in a very quick and easy way, it shows you which blog posts that you've written are read the most. So it doesn't say a lot about visitors. It doesn't say anything about time on site or bounce rate. All it does is catalog which posts were read and how many times they were read, so you can see which specific posts are the most popular and which are the least popular. So this is a very simple type of web analytics software. The next type we're going to look at is something called WassUp, W-A-S-S-U-P. Again, this is web analytics software that is very specific to the WordPress blog platform. What makes WassUp interesting is that it is called real-time web analytics software, and it also tracks absolutely everything. So most web analytics software that you're going to be using only tracks real visitors. So if I go to your website, it will track me. It will not track things like robots or spiders or spam or all of the other plethora of things that hit your website that are not actually what you would consider visitors. So WassUp is very interesting because it can show you real time, so it shows you what is happening right this second on your website. Not just with visitors, but also again with things like robots and spiders, so you can see how Google and Yahoo and other search engines see and go through your site. The last type of analytics software that we're going to look at is, of course, Google Analytics. Google Analytics is very in-depth and very thorough. You can find out about your visitors. You can find out about where your visitors came from, how long they stayed on your site, what they did when you got to the site, where they went when they left your site, a whole bunch of stuff. So Google Analytics is very sophisticated, in-depth software, and it's the type of analytics software that you're really going to need if you're running a business on the internet. So we're going over 3 types: basic, real-time, and then thorough, in-depth software. So as I said, the first type of software that we're going to be looking at is WordPress Stats. This is very simple software. It provides limited amounts of information, but it does so very easily and very cleanly. So let's go on the computer and take a look at WordPress Stats.
Okay, so now we are looking at a screen from WordPress Stats. WordPress Stats, like I said before, is not as sophisticated a web analytics piece of software as Google Analytics is, but it does show you a lot of useful information very quickly. Like I say, it does not do a lot, but what it does give you, it gives you in a very easy to read format. So with WordPress Stats, the thing that's most important is how many of your blog posts are read, and which ones, basically which ones get counted. So if you look here, this right here is the graph that shows you how many posts were read on certain days. So on 10/07, I had a total of 1,048 blog posts read. On 10/08, I had 130 blog posts read. So these are the total number of blog posts that were read on these days. So you can see, there are some spikes, some ups and downs. Now, if we scroll down, we have the referrers section. This referrers section simply says where did your visitors come from. So I had 7 visitors today. So this right here is for today. I had 7 visitors come from a site called StumbleUpon. I had 2 visitors come from a site called Steer, a different StumbleUpon site, Twitter, and AOL search. So these are all the places that people came to my site today. And this is how many people came from these sites. So from StumbleUpon, I got 7 people came to my site. From Steer, 2 people came to my site, and so on. Now over in this section, the top posts and pages, you will see these are the posts and pages that have been viewed and then how many times they've been viewed. So my little blog post on bewareofcomputertraining.com and their kind has been viewed 7 times today. Yahoo Pipes has been viewed 3 times, Key Generators 2, and you can see as you go down. Now below that we'll show also yesterday's, what was seen yesterday. So my Yahoo Pipes review yesterday was seen 904 times. Twitter finally introduces lists was seen 69 times. So that's all that. Then down here, they do give you a little bit of information about how people came to your site from search engines, but it's just a very little amount. You can see these were the search queries that were put into either Google, Yahoo, or AOL, and then how many people used that search query. So 2 people put into Google or Yahoo interjection on backups, and they got to my site. That's all that is. And then clicks. Clicks shows what links on my site to other sites people clicked on and then left my site. So today, 1 click went to Microsoft.com, 1 click went to this Chesapeake Systems, and 1 click went to Maryland Techs. So this shows you, if you have links on your site, this shows you, where your visitors went. Did they click on your links and how many times? Like yesterday, that review for Yahoo Pipes, I have a link to Yahoo Pipes, and that was clicked 9 times. So out of 904 people who saw the post, 9 people clicked on the link. And that's really about it. Then you have little blog stats and summary tables. So it'll tell you down here, my busiest day was 1,479 views, and that was Monday, October 12th. So as you can see, WordPress stats, again, does not give you a lot of information. This is not incredibly in-depth information, but it's a really easy way to see what posts of mine are popular.
Okay, so now that I've shown you how WordPress stats work and you have the idea what basic web analytics software looks like, let's take a little look at WassUp to show you what real-time analytics software looks like.
Okay, so another piece of web analytics software that I use is this piece of software called WassUp, W-A-S-S-U-P. This is a very good form of real-time web analytics software. Basically, this tracks how my blog is used by absolutely everything. In WordPress stats, it only tracked my blog posts that were read. So there had to be an actual visitor coming to my site and read my blog post for that to be recorded. With WassUp, it actually records all traffic to my site. So as you see this little area here where names and numbers keep scrolling by, these are the robots right now that are hitting my site. So not just visitors, but also Google bots, Yahoo bots, and the like. Now this map up here is pretty cool because as you saw it flipped across, is the map will actually change locations and pinpoint where people are coming to your site from. So now I have somebody coming to my site from Indiana apparently. So WassUp is very good for this real-time analytics because not only can you see the visitors, but you can also see robots coming to your site, spiders coming to your site, that type of thing. And it's just, it's kind of cool to see this map flip around, see people in Indonesia, who in Jakarta is looking at my site, you wonder. So on top of that, oops, let me just scroll. You can also get better visitor details. So this here shows me all the visitors right now without any spam or without spiders. But it shows all the visitors to my site in the past 24 hours here. And it'll actually show me the times when people are coming to my site. So you can see that there was a spike at about 8 o'clock in the morning. And there was very, very little traffic between, let's say, 11 o'clock and 6 o'clock in the morning. So this will show you the times that people are coming to your site, and this is also very useful. Like I say, I use a lot of different forms of web marketing, and so literally as soon as I submit one of my blog posts to these forms of web marketing, I can see if there are spikes and if I'm getting traffic from that form of marketing. With some of my marketing, literally you can go from like right here where you have absolutely no traffic all the way up to thousands of hits literally within 10 minutes. And it's very interesting to see because you see basically how quickly you can get hits to your site from whatever marketing you're using. So again, WassUp, it doesn't give you a lot of information, but what it's very good at is giving you real-time information. It gives you a fancy little map, so I don't really know what the map does for you, but it looks really cool and I like watching it. But it gives you the map, and then it not only shows you the visitors to your site, but it shows you the robots, and then it shows you things like how long people were on specific posts. So this shows me that somebody went to computertraining.com and then 5 seconds later went to supercircuits.com. This person did the same thing for some reason. So it gives you all of this very specific information. So somebody was on bewareofcomputertraining.com for 2 seconds, and then went to Super Circuits, and then went back. So this gives you a very, very, very nuanced idea of how people are using your website. Again, very good for real-time information, and but it's not an overall package.
Okay, so that was the WassUp real-time web analytics software. So you've seen how that works, and you've seen now basic web analytics software too. So now we're going to go into the real, I guess, hardcore web analytics software. We're going to take a look at Google Analytics. Like I say, Google Analytics gives you a lot of information. It gives you enough information that you can really make decisions about how to run your business and how to run your website. So the other two types of analytics software are very useful, and they're good for very specific functions. But for an overall view of the website, you really need to use Google Analytics.
I've said Google Analytics is completely free. If you know very much about computers and web design, it's pretty easy to set up. They've got lots of instructions and manuals and videos on how to set it up. This little bit is going to be on how to look at the reports once it's already been set up. So when you log into Google Analytics, you're going to first come to your dashboard page. Your dashboard page just gives you a very quick snapshot of a lot of information that might be interested to you. On the top, you'll see a graph, and this shows you the visits to your website over the period of time that is being shown. So we look up here at the date, and this shows from October 1st, 2009 to October 31st, 2009. This has been the traffic on certain days. So on, let's say here, Monday, October 12th, I had 1,307 visitors. The next day, or Wednesday, October 14th, I had 310 visitors. So this is a very quick and easy way to see how many visitors you had per day. Under this is the actual numbers for your website. So under site usage, you'll see that for this month, for October, I've had a total of 14,844 visits. So these are the total visits to my website by everybody. Of those, in those visits, 20,329 pages have been viewed, and so that comes out to, for my visits, every visit has averages 1.37 page views. So when somebody comes to my site, on average, they look at 1.37 pages. So of course that means some people look at 3 pages, some people look at 1 page, but this is the average. The bounce rate, like we talked about in the introductory class, this is the percentage of people that come to my site. They see 1 page and then they leave. So they only see 1 page and then they go away. So 72.84% of the people come to 1 page and then they leave. Average time on site is 38 seconds. So for all the people that have come to my site, all the visits, on average they stay 38 seconds. Now this number here, the average time on site, what is good and what is bad really depends on what your business and what your website are. I'm happy with 38 seconds because reasonably that means a good percentage of the people that come to my site are actually reading my blog posts. So if this was down at 10 seconds, then it means most people weren't reading my blog post because you can't read anything in 10 seconds. Up at 38 seconds, it means probably 1 out of every 2 to 3 people really take the blog post seriously and really read it. So that's not bad. And then percentage of new visits. So 85.49% of my visitors are new visits. This means they've never been to my site before. Now under this, you have just the normal dashboard information. This is your visitors again, your map overlay. So this shows you geographically where people are coming to your website from. So the darker green basically means the more people are coming to your site. So most of my people come from the United States. Some people come from Canada. Some people come from Australia, yada yada. And then down here is traffic sources. So how do people get to my site? So 74.21% of the people get to my site from referring sites, 17% come to my site from search engines, 4% come from direct traffic. That's where people actually plug in, www.elithecomputerguy.com. And then 4.24% is other. These are just weird other things. I'll show you that in a couple seconds. And then an overview of your most popular content. So like I showed in the last 2 bits, the bewareofcomputertraining.com is by far my most popular web page, and so this shows that I had 6,151 page views in October, which came to 30.26% of the total page views for my site. So literally a third of the traffic to my site went to bewareofcomputertraining.com. Okay, so now that's the overview, the dashboard. Now let's go into this a little more. We can click on the view report. So for visitors, we can click on view report. And this just gives a little bit more information. So there were 14,844 visits. So those are the total visits to my site. Now, like I talked about in the introductory class, there's visits and then absolute unique visitors. So there were 12,783 absolute unique visitors. So 12,000, almost 13,000 people, individual people came to my site, and then about 2,000 people came back to my site after they went to it for the first time. So absolute unique visitors are the people that have gone to your site only once. Visits is the total visits for everybody. Again, page views that we talked about before, bounce rate, and the whole 9 yards. Now here we can come down and you can see very interesting things like the browser information. So you'll see out of all those visits, 12,351 people used Firefox. That means 83% of my visitors use Firefox. 10% of my visitors use Internet Explorer, 3% use Safari, 2.5% use Chrome. Now this can be important because when you're designing your website, you're going to get a lot of industry information. So they're going to say that the industry average for Firefox utilization is 64% of the people on the internet use Firefox. Well, your usage may be different. So on average, 64% of the people that are viewing websites use Firefox. But my visitors, 83% of them use Firefox. So if I'm looking at using some technology that is specific to a certain type of internet web browser, I should take this into account. So you can see only 10% of my users use Internet Explorer. So I don't want to implement something that can only be used by Internet Explorer because I'm going to irritate 84% of my users, if that makes sense. And then also, this shows the connection speed over here. So it shows that 47% of my visitors use cable, 22 approximately use DSL, 15% is unknown, 12% use T1s, and 1% equals dial-up. So this shows you, I mean, I did have 148 visitors or visits using dial-up. So dial-up still exists. Now you can look at the connection speed of your visitors and make sure your website isn't too big. So if you have a lot of dial-up people, you don't want a really complicated, flashy website because it'll take too long to download. On the other hand, if you're like me and you see half your people are using cable, so I mean, if you look at here, 90% of my visitors use very high-speed internet connection, which means I can make a pretty robust site. So I can put all these videos and such on my website, and my visitors will be able to use them because they have a connection speed that's high enough. So that's the information that you can get on the visitors. Let's go back to the dashboard. Now we can also look at the map overlay. So if we view the report here, again, this shows us the entire world and gives us a graphical representation of how many people come to your website from different places. You can look at United States. I got 10,396 visits from the United States. From Canada, I got 1,116. But then you can go over and just, I mean, like weird things. Saudi Arabia, I got 3 visits, or United Arab Emirates, you get 3 visits. If you scroll down, you can get the numbers for this. So you'll see that in the United States, I got 10,000 visits, 1.41 pages on average people saw per visit. They stayed for on average 42 seconds. And all the standard information I've shown you before. So you can see if some people, like people in India, stayed for 54 seconds on average. So I don't know what the people in India are looking at, but they seem more interested than the people in the U.S. Or Israel, 26 visitors, and they stayed for 1 minute and 5 seconds. Depending on what your business is, this may or may not be very useful. Like for me, I'm not really worried if people in Germany are looking at my website. But if you have, let's say, an import-export business, or if you have a business is globally interesting, this might be something that you can use. You may find that, I don't know, people in Belgium really like your site more than people in the United States. So you might decide to focus on the people in Belgium. So once you see that, then you can click on the country that you're interested in. So of course I'm interested in the United States. And then this expands out. So now we're looking at all the states in the United States. The same deal. California, I have 1,336 visitors from California. New York, 714. And again, this will show you for every state, the average pages they visited, the average time on site, the same deal. And then, so I'm in Maryland. When I had the storefront, what I could do is I could then look at this and I could see where people are interested in my advertising. So out of all of Maryland, out of all the places that I could be servicing, like I say, you'll see this band of interest right here. So if I'm looking at doing other advertising, or if I'm looking at possibly opening another franchise location, this is a very quick and easy way to do simple demographics. So if I have a store in Baltimore and I'm thinking about opening a store somewhere else, well, I can look and where are people interested in me. So I can see, Silver Spring, Beltsville, College Park. Probably this area right here would be a much better place to open up another computer store than here, where there's nothing, or here, where there's 3 people came to my site. So you can scroll down, and again, this will give you now the cities. So Baltimore had 347 visits, Towson, Nottingham, Columbia, and etc. So that's how you can use the geographical component of your web analytics to again get a very good idea about where people are coming from. So if you're dealing with like an information site, a news site, or a blog, like my site is now, you can see who's interested in your site all around the world. Now, if you had a storefront or if you had a consulting service that was localized, you can also drill down into your state or area and see where the people are coming to your site from. So again, if you want to pinpoint or do more advertising, it would be better to do advertising in the place where people are interested in your service. So that's the mapping component. Let's go back. And then now let's go to the traffic sources overview. So here, we just go to the full report. So this now shows you all the traffic sources and how many visits to your site. Again, the average page views per visit, average time. So StumbleUpon.com sent me 10,672 visits in October. Google sent me 2,416. Twitter sent me 629. One of the good parts with this is you can also drill down into the referring site. So I can click on Google Organic, and now I can get a report and see how many people per day Google sent to me. So as you can see, on October 1st they sent 104, then October 4th they sent 49. It goes up and down. So you may be able to see trending information using this. Let's see, I think Twitter had something good. So Twitter. So you can see I got almost no visits from Twitter for a long time, and then right here on October 23rd, all of a sudden I got 111 visits, and then I got 128 visits, and then since then I haven't been getting a whole lot of visits, but obviously I've been getting a lot more visits than I was before. Now I started a different type of marketing using Twitter, right, somewhere in here, and that's where I got the spike from, and that's where I'm getting those extra visitors from. So this is an easy way to see. Again, is your marketing working? If you put advertising on a local website, if you're paying for a banner ad, you can see are people actually coming to your website from that banner ad. So that's that. And then here you can get a full report of your keywords. So this will show you all the information. So the keywords, Google Apps Review has sent me 95 visits. Again, 1.26 average page views, 1 minute on site. This can show you, so your organic search traffic, when somebody is looking for something using Google or Yahoo or Bing, and they type in certain keywords, you can see the report on what keywords they're plugging in. And sometimes you can be very surprised at this. Like Woobi Review. Woobi is a weird little Unix piece of software or a Linux piece of software. I'm surprised that I got 54 visits from Woobi Review. So again, maybe that's something I should look at in the future. Maybe people like Woobi more than I realized. So now let's go back to the dashboard. So that was the traffic sources, and now we can go to content overview. And this shows how your content is being used. So we scroll down. So same information we saw before, page views, unique page views. AdSense page impressions, since Google, of course, owns AdSense, you can now see there were 12,617 AdSense page impressions. So that's how many ads people saw. Out of that, for October, I made $17.93. So you can see that how much money you made during a specific span of time. And then we can go here to content. Oops. And we can see, again, which is the most popular content. So bewareofcomputertraining.com had 6,151 page views, unique page views, average time on site, etc. So all this information. So you can get a very good idea of what is the most popular pages on your site, how long people are staying to look at the pages on your site, etc. So with me, I'm interested in how people like the video classes. So if I do, I can also plug in here as a search feature. So I can go see, and this is going to show me, well, kind of sad, that not a lot of people are watching my video classes yet. So my online class, the OC Intro to Web Analytics, I can see it was seen 5 times in October. Unique page views was only 2, and the average time on site was 3 minutes and 35 seconds. How to Become an IT Consultant was more popular, had 3 unique page views, and people stuck around to watch a video for an average of 8 minutes and 47 seconds. So this is again how you can see, are people interested in what you are creating. I want people to watch my videos, and I can come here and I can see if people are watching my videos or not. So that's the basic content. You can also go to, there's an AdSense tab, and it can show you things like top AdSense content that brought you in money. So introduction to, what is that? Introduction to backup systems made me the most money last month. It made me $2.87. Getting your business on the internet made me $2.56. The root folder, the home page that you go to, maybe $2.34. So this can show you what pages are making you the most money. And then to get really complicated, the top referrers. So artisteer.com as a referrer has made me the most money because they sent people to my site, and then the people that they sent to my site ended up making me $2.28. Earthlink Help for some reason came in second at $1.10. Stumble Upon maybe 4 cents, etc. So you get that information from the AdSense portion of the content. Then you can also see things like top landing pages. So this shows you, again, the top pages where people enter your site. Since this is on the internet, the top page people come to your site is not necessarily your homepage. Like my homepage here is actually the 6th. So most people came to my site through that post, thecomputertraining.com. The second most came to through the post, getting around your office web filters, then through Yahoo Pipes, then web storage gets cheap, then review of Gist, and all the way down at number 6 is my homepage. So at 6, that's the homepage. And so only 496 people came to my site straight away through my homepage. Most people by far came through this computertrain.com. Whether this is important to you, you have to decide, but it can give you information that you haven't realized before. Then also, I don't have any set up, but you can go to the goals section. And in goals, you can actually tell Google Analytics the goals you have. Like I say, whether it's printing a coupon or submitting a form or doing something, you can say, I'm interested if people do X, Y, or Z, and then it will record whatever that is. And then the last part with content is not that one, sorry. We can see the navigation. So beware of computertraining.com. Give me 1 second. So we go here to this, what's called the navigation summary. And so the people that came to computertraining.com, this will now show that 99.83% of the people that came to that computertraining.com post were entrances. So that's they came straight to that page. 0.17% came from previous pages. So 0.02% came to some introductory class. 0.09% came from the home page there. So it shows how people got to the page, and then what did they do when they were deciding to leave. So you'll see that people came to my computertraining.com post, then 99.25% left, so they didn't see anything else. 0.75% stuck around to take a look at what else was on my website, and out of that 0.15% went to the home page, 0.06% went to how to become an IT professional, etc. So this shows you how people got to a specific page. So it'll say the entrances, how many people went there specifically. So they were on Google and then they came to your page, or whether they were already on your website and came to that page. And then once they were on the page, what happened next? Did they leave? Or if they didn't leave, if they navigated to another page on your website, where else did they go? Again, this can be very, very useful for finding out how people are using your site. So that is the brief introduction to Google Analytics. There is more to it. There's a lot that Google Analytics can do for you. I'm not going to go into any more of it because it's something that you yourself should just play around with. The more you play with this software, the more you will understand it and get used to it. And also remember, this is a website, so at any time Google can change the entire format and what this does. So as soon as I get done making this video, Google could change everything about how this looks and what information is collected, etc., and there's nothing I can do about it. So this is an overview of Google Analytics. No matter how Google changes this website, it should approximately be the same. And if you are looking at other types of analytics software, these are the features that you should be looking for. So like I said, there is another type of software out there called Piwik, P-I-W-I-K, that does a lot of the things that Google Analytics does, again, for free and is open source. And then there are paid for versions. You'll pay, anywhere between $20 and $1,000, and they will give you this information too. They may also put in real-time tracking. Google Analytics is not real-time tracking, but they'll have the content navigation and such.
Okay, so that was Google Analytics software, and I think you understand how that works now. So those are the three basic types of web analytics software. You have the basic, you have the real-time, and then you have the in-depth analytics software. One of the things that you have to remember and you have to realize is that the numbers that these web analytics software give you are not necessarily 100% accurate. There are a lot of things that kind of skew the numbers when it comes to the time somebody spends on your site, or sometimes what they do on your site. A lot of people are using privacy software on their web browsers now, so that can really kind of mess with analytics software. Not only that, but analytics software isn't exactly perfect. So you have to take all of the numbers that you have with a little bit of salt. They are accurate enough to make decisions off of, but you have to remember that they're not perfect. These are not 100% exact numbers. They're ballpark numbers, so just keep that in mind. Then the other thing is what I warned you about in the introductory class is be careful about going to your own website. Remember, if you go to your own website and you have your analytics software on, it's going to track all of your activity on the site, and that's going to go into the reports. So if you're not getting a lot of hits to your site yet, but you go to your site a lot to make modifications or to poke around or just to make sure everything looks pretty, you may horribly skew your numbers. So you think 100 people came to your site or 200 people came to your site, and it was really just you going to your site a number of times during the day. That's one of the things with the unique visitor number that you're given is, again, that's an approximation. It's approximately how many unique visitors. If you continuously go to your site in a given day, you may end up showing up as a couple of unique visitors just because of how everything works. So just remember that the numbers are not perfect. They're just very good guideposts. They can give you a lot of information, but like I say, they are not 100% correct. Well, so that was the class on web analytics in depth. We've gone over the different types of some of the different types of web analytics software. I've shown you these pieces of web analytics software to show you what is possible, not necessarily what you have to use. Now that you understand what these different pieces of software can do, you should do some research and decide what you want to use and what information you need. Personally, I would say you should always set up Google Analytics because, again, it's free and easy and you don't really have anything to lose. But the other stuff like WassUp or WordPress stats or what other analytics software that you use, again, it's all about your preference and what you decide. The whole thing is what functions and features it gives you, and does it give you the information that you need. Remember, like all things in technology, it's all about, do you get the results that you require? If you do, you have the right software. If you don't, you have the wrong software and you need to get some other ones. The next thing is you need to start this ASAP. Remember, you can't record statistics if the software is not running. So if you want to get a baseline of how your website does for a month, well, the analytics software has to be running for a month for you to get the baseline. So a lot of people put this off. They keep thinking, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Well, if you just sit down, you just do it today, then you'll be collecting the information from this point forward. If you keep procrastinating, then a month will go by and then you'll be like, but I needed that information, and you know how it is, it's procrastination. So just install the web analytics software today. Like I say, if nothing else, do Google Analytics and you'll be good. The very important thing is if you're thinking about doing web marketing, you need to have a robust web analytics system up before you even think about web marketing. Let me be blunt. You are a complete and utter moron if you start web marketing before you have web analytics functioning and you understand how it works. You are going to lose money and it's just going to be bloody and horrible. So before you start doing web marketing, before you start doing Google AdWords, before you start doing Yahoo banner ads, before you go to your local newspaper's website and put something up there, before you do any of that, set up your web analytics and make sure you understand how it works. If you don't, you're throwing money down the toilet. And then the last part is all the web analytics you can do yourself. As long as you're relatively proficient with a computer, all of this stuff is easy to install and to set up. Even the free stuff has very, very good instructions on how to set things up. They'll have videos. They want to help you out, especially, like I said, I've said it a couple of times, with Google Analytics, because Google wants you to use their software, because then that ties you into their whole ecosystem more and more and more and more. So they have all the information you need to set up Google Analytics. If you decide to go with other analytics software, I said Piwik before, or any of the others, again, they have lots of information. And as long as you're reasonably proficient with a computer, you should be able to do it. Even if you can't do it, this is one of the few times you probably don't need to hire somebody. You probably can get your really smart cousin who's in high school, or nephew who's in high school, to do it for you. Because basically, once you set up the web analytics, it doesn't need any maintenance. It's not like you have to go in and do everything monthly or yearly. I mean, once this stuff is set up, it's set up. Google Analytics, all you do is you put in a little line of code on all of the web pages on your website, and then all of the information actually gets stored up in Google servers. So you don't have to worry about some analytics server crashing or what your responsibility is. You simply put this little bit of code in all of your web pages, and from that point on, everything is golden. So I hope you learned a lot. This was, like I said, web analytics in depth. You should be able to take what you learned today and go and start learning how your visitors are using your website.